welcome back to my online class, Introduction to English Literature class. In the previous meeting, we have talked about what is literature. As I said before, literature is divided into two, fictional and non-fictional. One of the examples of fictional literature is poetry. Poetry is one of the oldest genres in literary history. The term poetry, however, goes back to the Greek word poi, to make or to produce, indicating that the poet is the person who makes verse. The intrinsic element of poetry is several points. There are several intrinsic elements in poetry. The first is imagery. There are several imagery. The first is visual imagery. It is related to the experience of the sense of sight. The second one is kinesthetic imagery. It is related to about experience the form of movement. The third is auditory imagery. As the word is audio, so it means associated with the sense of hearing. Next is organic imagery. Organic imagery can be seen in the disclosure of feelings such as hunger, thirst, drunkenness, and etc. Tactile imagery. Tactile imagery is related to our sense of touch. It can be seen from the description of feelings such as feeling hot, cold, smooth, rough, and anything that can be felt to be touched. Next is gustatory imagery. Gustatory imagery is imagery that portrays the experience of our sense of taste, a taste of things like sweet, bitter, sour, tasteless are some examples of words that indicate gustatory imagery. Next, olfactory imagery. It is associated with our sense of smell of things that can be described based on the experience of smell from your nose is an example of olfactory imagery. For example, the smell of something. Yeah, that's for the imagery. Next is rhyme. What is rhyme? Rhyme is defined as a form of repetition of sound in this line of poetry. It is divided into three types. There are end rhyme, median, and front. After imagery, rhyme, next is rhythm. Rhythm is an intrinsic element of poetry that only comes when a poem was read. Rhythm is a tone that appears when poetry was sung. Imagery, rhyme, rhythm, next is matter. Size of tone in the rhythm called the matter. Matters can be shaped monometer, dimeter, trimeter, tetrameter, and pentameter. Next is allusion. Allusion is a style that uses words or names in the Bible that is inserted in the poem with a specific purpose and reason. Yeah, imagery, rhyme, rhythm, matter, and allusion. Next is style of language or figure of speech. The first is simile, metaphor, idiom, personification, symbol, hyperbole, litotes, imagery, figure of sound, alliteration, assonance, onomatopoeia. Yeah, that's it. What is the meaning of each them? The first is what? Remember what I said? The first is simile. Simile is a comparison of two unlike things using the word like or as. Yeah, that's the key. if there is a word or imagery using like or as, so it is a simile. For example, he sings like a bluebird. He sings like a bluebird. Or you are like a rose. That's the example of simile. The second one is metaphor. Metaphor is a comparison of two unlike things without the use of single words such as like or as. Yeah, simile using like, metaphor didn't use like. Example of metaphor. The paintbrush was a magic wand in his hand. The paintbrush was a magic wand in his hand. Metaphor. Next is idiom. Idiom is a phrase that has a special meaning different from the actual meaning of the words. I'm pretty sure that you still remember the idiom, it's raining cats and dogs outside. Yeah, it's raining cats and dogs outside. Next is personification. What is personification? It is a type of metaphor in which distinctive human characteristic. For example, my car was happy to be washed. My car was happy to be washed. Logically, it is impossible a car has a feeling happy. Yeah, because car is unalive. It's just a thing. Yeah. So personification is a type of metaphor in which distinctive human characteristic. Next is symbol. What is symbol? Symbol is a image transferred by something that stands for or represents something else. For example, flag for country, autumn for maturity. Yeah. Next is hyperbole. Hyperbole about deliberate overstatement. Yeah, exaggeration is such an exaggeration. For example, I'll give my right arm for a piece of pizza. I'll give my right arm for a piece of pizza. That's kind of hyperbole. Next is litotes, type of meiosis, of understatement, in which an affirmative is expressed by the negative of the contrary. For example, is not unhappy, or a point of no small stature, not unhappy. Imagery or image, the elements in a literary work used to evoke mental image. Next is vigor of sound, sometimes called sound devices. Next, alliteration, also called head rhyme or initial rhyme. The last is, the 11 is assonance, the relatively close juxtaposition of the same or similar vowel sounds. Next, onomatopoeia, strictly speaking, the formation or use of words which imitate sounds. That's the last onomatopoeia. Okay, that's enough. We'll discuss more about the intrinsic element of poetry. So, I just can say thank you for now. We will see you on the next meeting. Okay, see ya. Thank you.